Scientific Writing Management, Part 1. How to find the article. In this part, I'm going to introduce some definitions. You should know who is a publisher, what is subscription. Then I will be talking about searching strategies. And finally about continuous search and suggestions. The primary question we should answer: why do we need to refer? There is a very good metaphor, stand on the shoulders of giants, that describes and explains why do we need to refer to other works. This metaphor means using the understanding gained by major thinkers in order to make intellectual progress. Its most familiar expression is by Isaac Newton. If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. We are referring to previous works because there are conclusions, there are results of this work, and we should refer to that in order to build our own ideas and to support them. We usually write an article. And so what is an article? That's also an open question. Please spend 10 seconds to think about it. There might be a lot of definitions. It will depend on the fields in which you are working in. But perhaps one of the most important definitions is that an article is in a way of communication. It's not only about reporting your findings. It's not only about discussing them. Not about discoveries, but it is about communicating all that to other humans. That is probably the shortest article ever written. It finishes a communication between two scientists on a topic in which they could not agree, and one wrote an article explaining his positions, another answered with critics, and after all, Jan Tattersall wrote enough already. The reviewer even wrote a special explanation why he has approved this article. He found it really informative. Next, let's answer in the same way to a question: what is bibliography? Curiously enough, the definition of bibliography changed just recently. At the end of the 20th century, it would look like this. On the left, you can see a library. I've been working in one of them. You can still find them. You can go to the faculty library probably and find a lot of books on the shelf. On the right, you can see another way of bibliography management. It's in your computer, in a laptop. And this is how it works in the 21st century. So pay attention that in the context of this presentation, bibliography is a systematic listing of journal articles in a database form. And the bibliography management is an efficient and collective bibliography usage in a scientific group. Let's go to some definitions. You should bear in mind that publications are accessible via subscriptions, either through databases or from publishers. Behind the databases, there are portals like Web of Knowledge, Scopus, CAS, PubMed or Science Direct. The publishers are those who own the content, and they also put the articles on their websites. What is important is that you get access to your articles from the publisher or from the database, because the University of Tartu, or maybe some other university as written here, University of Strathclyde, they pay for the access. There are several ways how to say that you belong to that institution. First of all, you can go through proxy or virtual private network, which is VPN. That is really useful, especially when you work at home and you would like to read something on the net. How to set up the access? There are very good instructions at the University of Tartu pages. Go there. I'm giving you a tiny URL, shortened URLs, addresses. Later on, after watching this presentation, you can download the presentation and click on those short links, and you will find the description how to set up proxy, which is usually done in your Firefox, Chrome, Opera, or some other browser. Or you can set up VPN in your Mac, Linux, or Windows. And VPN usually is a software inside your operational system. A frame on the right demonstrates how it's usually set up. But to go into details, you should open the link here, tinyurl UT 2018 VPN. It is still alive. And there you will find more details. If you don't want to set up either proxy or VPN, you can go to the University of Tartu databases with the URL given in the bottom. Or you can use some software like Unpaywall, Capernio, Nomad, or Open Access Button, etc., etc. Once you set up VPN or proxy, you can access all kinds of articles from any place in the world. Let me tell that, of course, not all of the articles, but those for which the University of Tartu paid. Now let's go to the ways of searching for articles. Previously, people used chemical abstracts. Or remember the picture on the very first slide where I was sitting in a library and there were a lot of books. Those are chemical abstracts. Usually open this book and then it's written that the article written by this author, entitled like this, has this abstract and it is published in a journal, and then you can see the volume of the journal and as well issue, pages, everything. So that you can then go to your librarian and ask for this article. If you like the abstract, of course. So that's why it's called chemical abstract, that you should go through the abstracts, understand whether it's an important topic for you, and then order specific journal article. Well, nowadays it happens a bit differently. Using computers in the 21st century, you can just go online and type in some keywords, and then instantly you will find, even in Google search, the results. Then you will get a link and you will go to the publisher webpage. Because you have proxy or VPN, you can download the PDF of that article and start reading. So about search strategies. Of course, there are many ways. All of them are digital. First of all, you can search by keywords in the databases. That means that you go to a specific portal, start searching there. You can use advanced search to refine your searching results. So not only giving the keywords, but also specific details, metadata. You can also find articles of the leading scientists in the field and subscribe to their updates. And you can look through citations, both cited and citing. That means that you have already found one article which is interesting for you, and then it's a really good idea to see what kind of articles are cited in this article and what kind of new articles are citing your article. I hope that was understandable. Probably I should give you some examples. So let's go for them. They are on the slide, but later on I will switch to my browser to show how it works in practice. Oh, and the fifth option, I almost forgot, that you can make the citation flow using the RSS. Searching by the subject keywords happens like this. First of all, you have some idea what you are going to search for, like effect of sedimentation of the survival of salmon eggs. Then you have to define what are these keywords you are going to search for. For example, here, sediment hatching salmon eggs, which look like this, silt survival, etc. This is your specific group of keywords. You know all about them. And if you would like to use this way of searching, go to tinyurl.com/search for some more hints. Here on this slide, I'm going to tell you that you can always refine your search by, for example, author or year. In order to do that, you usually enter something in the search field, then click on search, and then you will have a lot of boxes to tick. For example, to refine what is your domain, arts and humanities, or science or technology. You may also search for author, for example, Doijon, and then refine your search by country, from UK or from the USA, and then refine your search by year. You actually can do the same in Google Scholar. This is another approach for searching and refining the search. You put your John Doe into partners, and then you specify that he is from Stanford University, and then you specify the year as well. You can also add the keywords, and finally you will find all the information related to your search inquiry. It's a good idea to look through citations. That is a picture which is very old from the Web of Knowledge. So it shows you a graph relating one article which was probably published in 1970 and all other articles which are cited in this one. You can do similar thing in Google Scholar in the following way. If you search for an article, you will find a result which will be shown like this, and here on the bottom you will see cited by 113 other articles, or if you press on the related articles, Google Scholar will provide you some. Another way is to use suggestions. For example, Google Scholar recommends articles. Mendeley suggests articles and jobs. LinkedIn suggests only jobs. ResearchGate recommends users' works. That is a social network for scientists. And if you are there, you have some friends also working in a similar field. Academia is another social network. It shows posts of your friends. So it also might be an advertisement of an article. And you can also set up an RSS. Soon I will tell what is it. Overall, I would say that Google Scholar recommends articles as soon as they are published, immediately, in a second after it is on the publisher's webpage. So it is too new. Sometimes you can find a lot of articles without even pages, issue, volume, which is not very cool because you cannot cite them. Mendeley, on the other hand, provides 2 old articles, and usually I'm just scrolling through articles from 2010, which I have already read. They are already in my Zotero database, and I'm not so interested in them. The ResearchGate is just messy, like probably most of the social networks, or perhaps it requires some specific skills. Instead of academia, I would recommend Twitter, because on Twitter you can also subscribe to your friends, and they might start telling all the world that they have just published an article. And it's really convenient, because if on the publisher's webpage you have just a button to tweet, then a lot of my colleagues do so. And now let's talk about RSS, Rich Site Summary. Let's make the citations flow to you. As you have already understood, publishers put the content on their webpage. So there is a way to grab the data. And usually the databases, they traverse the web pages and then get all the information, metadata and articles in the form of PDFs. Then from these databases, I'm now going through this left branch. Search engines provide the results for you. Actually, you can set up an alert, and that will be the way to you, yourself, as a happy scientist. Another way is to get RSS feed from the publishers immediately and then start reading all this RSS. The third way is to set up a filter so that you don't have to read all hundreds of articles, their abstract or titles, and instead of that, some smart filter will choose only dozens of articles that might be interesting to you and then provide it to you. It looks like this. You go to some web page, for instance here it's Royal Society of Chemistry. You find your journal, Physical Chemistry, Chemical Physics, it's not the same. And then you will find this orange button. Click on it and it will suggest you to add this specific journal to your RSS feed. And then there are RSS readers. They might be, for example, in our own cloud UTEE in the cloud, or they can be on your mobile phone here in this red frame, or it can be on a desktop software green frame. Soon I will show how it works. The row 2, creating alerts. Yes, you can go to Scopus, search for an author, and then set a document feed, which is not shown here on the screen, but there would be a button to do so. And in Google Scholar or maybe some other search engines, you can search for an author name and check whether this author has a profile and just start following. The third row is filter your RSS. Now that is something that is experimental. It might not work very well, but you can find and mix feeds at rssmix.com or maybe rssunify.com or maybe some other service. You can then filter the combined feeds with regex or by keyword at cipherrss.com. And once you've done it, you can actually start reading the refined feed in the UT cloud or maybe some other reader or maybe with Zotero as well. Now before we finish, let me show you how it works in practice. Here we are in a browser. My favorite way of searching is using Google Scholar. What shall we search for? Probably COVID 2018. I'm not a robot. Crosswalk. What is crosswalk? Maybe this. Okay. You can see that you got 13,000 of results. Probably it will be difficult to search. Now let's pay attention to the following. That you can click on the title and then you will be thrown to the publisher's webpage, which is Nature in this case. Let's go back. You can also search by the author and you can find that this author has a profile. I'm very sorry, Roman Werlfeld. I was not asking permission, but just consider that I'm showing it as an example. It was absolutely random. And I'm not advertising your work. Next, you can see that this is already cited 117 times. This is an incredibly popular article. And from here you can go and search and read these articles. By the way, on the right you can see that it is provided by the Nature. This one is from the bioarchive. Sometimes they have more than 2 sources and you can go to them. So some source might be an open one, another might be like MetaArchive, which is also open, and really is definitely a publisher's webpage. So the University of Tartu should pay for the access and you should use the University of Tartu network, RSS, proxy, or maybe the UT databases to get this article. Okay, some articles even have 7 versions. Here are all of them. Next, let's try Scopus. In order to use Scopus, you actually also need to verify yourself. Yeah, so you need to sign in. Alright, we are inside. Here you can search by author, affiliation, etc. You just need to test it, how it works for you. Now, in order not to advertise anyone except myself, because I can ask myself for permission, I'm going to search for my own information, and it failed because you have to be always very careful for what you're looking here. A lot of clicks. Alright, now you can see that once you have found me, you can start following me, can you? You should press here on alert. Author citation alerts. When you set author citation, you will receive emails. That's very good. Set new author alert. So it's a good idea to here write last name, search for this author, and then put an alert for him. Okay? And from Scopus you will get emails about all new articles from that person. Actually, you can do the same in Google Scholar. Because there is a profile, you can follow the author. Next, about RSS. Here is the JACS, Journal of American Chemical Society. Let me pay your attention to the following. First of all, the access is provided by University of Tartu, Ramatukogu. Someone has paid for that. Next, you have this Get Electronic Alerts, which you can see immediately. What you would not find so easily is a RSS, which is here. Connect to ICS publications, emails, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, probably YouTube, yes, and then RSS. And from here you can choose the same journal, Journal of JACS, American Chemical Society. The RSS in your browser will look like this. First of all, you can subscribe using some software which is browser-based, like Feedly, or you can just copy the feed as a page here and then subscribe by putting this one here. And that this one is OnCloud UTEE, and it is part of our university cloud. From now on you can start searching and reading. It is really, really convenient because usually, especially in chemistry, I don't know how about arts and humanities, but in chemistry, the table of content figure, which you can see here, is very, very informative. So whenever you see this picture, you can understand what is it about without reading the abstract. And by the way, that is my favorite way of procrastination, which is not bad in my opinion. To sum up the part 1, you have an impression how to find the article using the keywords. To sum up the part 1, you now should know about how to find the article. You can use proxy and VPN, as well as databases to access the articles. To search, you can use keywords or you can go through citations. To keep your search alive, let's say so, you can set up a continuous search by setting up alerts from databases or subscribe to authors or use suggestions like provided by Google Scholar or set up an RSS. Thank you very much for your attention.